Hello, hello. Welcome everyone trickling in. This is round 2. 2 consecutive days I've logged on to Instagram Live. Last night I logged on before bed, and today I'm far from going to bed. I'm just taking a break from writing and podcast editing and stuff like that. So I'm here to just chill, hang out, no plans. Last night we talked about Alaba and transfers and Ceballos and who else? I'm not sure what else. I think we talked about cooking food at some point. And that was all spur of the moment. So we'll see where this goes. If anyone wants to request to join the live video, I will accept. Hopefully you're not a creep, and hopefully you have some value to bring to this live video. So there should be I think there's a request to join button or something. And if you want to hit me with a request, I will accept. So some comments trickling in. Ramos will renew, just wait for it. I think he will too. This is the yearly annual Ramos thing that he does, where his brother Rene Ramos leaks things to the press, and he says that he's not gonna say, or if he does, he's seriously considering leaving. So it's probably just the annual thing. I don't know if you guys saw this, but last night Dani Ceballos actually said that he had gotten off the phone with Sergio Ramos and he thinks he's going to renew with Real Madrid. So in case you believe what Dani Ceballos says, that was a little bit of confirmation there. Somebody else saying, Brandon saying, how you doing, Brandon? Brandon saying Modric top 2 midfielders of all time. Diego is just a hater. Top 2 midfielders of all time is pushing it. But top 2 central midfielders, I think you can have a debate at least. Javier says, has Kubo to Getafe been finalized, or is it just speculation? It's not finalized. It might as well be finalized. Kubo's been omitted from the last 2 squad selections, and if he was ever going to play, it was today against Zamora and Copa del Rey, where you would expect somebody like Kubo to get minutes, but he wasn't even in the squad. If you're interested in knowing my thoughts on Kubo and the team's thoughts, Matt Wilty and I spoke about it today on patreon.com/managermadrid. We had a whole Kubo segment. But also, if you're not a patron and you're just listening for free, go to yesterday's Churros y Tácticas podcast. I think it was around the 29-minute mark. You'll hear my thoughts on Kubo to Getafe and what I think of his situation at Villarreal and how he may or may not fit at Getafe. All my thoughts are there. Thanks for the compliments on the glasses. I imagine even if they look terrible, you probably wouldn't tell me, which is fine. Somebody says, hey, Kiyan, and Matt Wiltsey voice. Hey, Kiyan. I think that was a terrible impression, but we all know what he sounds like. What will it take to see more of Jovic? Why is it that Benzema is the only player aside from Courtois that doesn't need rest? Well, I think many players do need rest. I think there are exceptions to that rule. So, Sergio Ramos being one of them. The thing with Benzema is that he doesn't play the international game, so he can be allowed some rest. And that doesn't mean I think that he should play every single second. There are plenty of cases where Benzema should just rest. And there are definitely times where you really question Zidane's decision-making process and why he plays every second. There are specific moments where you're like, why can't he come off sooner? Like the last game at Celta where he came off in the 89th or 90th minute for Mariano Diaz. What was the point of that? Well, basically to kill time. And if there's anyone who can do anything in 1 second, it's Mariano. That's the only logical explanation for that. But Jovic's situation is well documented, and I'm not sure it's necessarily connected to Benzema playing every second. I think there are situations where Benzema and Jovic can coexist. But Jovic, let's be honest, has had some bad luck. He's had some bad decisions too with regards to his the way he's dealt with quarantine and things like that. He also has just had bad luck. I mean, he went on a scoring spree with Serbia, came back. had COVID. Then he came back from COVID, he got injured, and so this has been a rough go for him. It may be also it is possible that Jovic is going to go out on loan this winter break. So we'll see. That could be part of the reason why he's not playing right now. People are talking about a Luka Doncic masterclass. Oh, last night. I did not watch the games last night. I'm a bit behind. I'm basically with NBA stuff. Outside of the Raptors melting this season, what I've kept tabs on are basically a lot of Brooklyn, enjoying the Steph Curry resurgence, the renaissance of Steph Curry. I'm enjoying that very much. And keeping tabs on my boy Kawhi, obviously, and Serge and Mark over in LA. But I did not see Doncic masterclass last night. I'm a bit behind on Doncic masterclasses. I'm sure there will be millions to come, so I'm not too worried about missing them. What's up? What's up? Hello to everybody just saying what's up. Do you think Hazard needs a position adjustment? Maybe center attacking midfielder or striker false nine? I think the Hazard thing is all mental. I don't think he's been put in a position not to succeed. Let's be honest. Where he's playing right now, where Zidane is deploying him, is his ideal position. That's where he became one of the top 5 players in the world, arguably, at least on the fringes, in the Premier League in his last season at Chelsea. He was on that left wing. Sure, can you play more centrally? Can you play a roaming 10 role? Sure, and Zidane has actually put him in that role a couple times. He's in the best position he can possibly play. It's on him now. It's no excuses. Cheers, my bro. What's up, Slobodan Zikoski. Jaren says, when is Mbappe joining? Go watch last night's Instagram live video, which is on the Managing Madrid feed. I talked about that. I don't think anytime soon, given Real Madrid's financial situation. If it's going to happen, it's in 2022. And even that, then you're hoping that basically these couple years pass without Mbappe renewing with PSG. Which is, a little bit of a dent in those plans too with Pochettino there. Questions about Alaba, and also, do you think Mendy is the right fit for Real Madrid, or do we need a flamboyant fullback? Interesting. So, I think Alaba is a more rounded wingback. I don't think he's as good as Mendy defensively. In fact, I don't think anyone is as good as Mendy defensively at the left back position. But I will say, I think there are plenty of cases for more well-rounded left backs, like when we're talking about the Alphonso Davies type players, the Robertson type players, and I think I don't know if this current version of Alaba is necessarily the best option, but he is more rounded, that's for sure. He's more versatile. So I don't think Alaba walks in and becomes a starter at any specific position, but I think if he comes, and again, I think that's another big if, I don't think Real Madrid will necessarily top the salary that Bayern offered him, which was already rejected by Alaba. If you get past all those barriers and he does arrive, I think he immediately gets a lot of minutes, whether that's backup left back position, whether that's sporadic left back starting, whether that's Casemiro backup, whether that's starting in certain games over Casemiro. So I think he immediately becomes a valuable player. I also think possibly with him, we'll see players like Nacho and Marcelo become a little bit more expendable, although it's not easy to just open up squad room for those players. Marcelo in particular, I'm not sure how many people can take on his contract. But look, I don't think Alaba is the biggest priority, but I also don't think he hurts. That's my stance on Alaba. And if you were to ask me if I were to go for Alaba or Pau Torres, I'd go for Pau Torres first. Let's see. A lot of questions about signings. All of that in yesterday's live video. Go back and watch it. Do we have enough sample size to say that Zizou isn't the best at developing young talent? Vinicius, Jovic, and Militao all regress under him. Oligarch also struggling for playing time. It's not a black or white answer. I think some players will thrive under Zidane, some players won't, and I think age has nothing to do with it. Are there examples of young players who have thrived under Zidane? Yes. Off the top of my head, Fede Valverde, Marco Asensio, although he's, obviously he fell off with an injury. But those are two players right there. And I also think that, I don't know if they necessarily regress, but they're playing, whether it's Vinicius or Rodrigo, these guys are getting playing time. Kovacic had tough love approach initially from Zidane, but became an important player before he went to Chelsea. On the flip side, are there examples of young players not being trusted by Zidane and doing well elsewhere? Of course there are. I mean, you don't need me to tell you, but I guess I'll tell you anyway. Whether it's Marcos Llorente, Sergio Reguilon. I thought it was a bit amusing the other day when I saw a lot of people come out and say, and Marca wrote an article saying like, Zidane was right the whole time. You have to trust him. James is struggling now, and Bale is struggling, but then completely ignored the fact that we have Reguilon thriving. We have Marcos Llorente thriving, and others. So I don't think that Zidane is bad at developing young talent. I think some young players will thrive, some young players won't, and I don't think it has to do with age. I really don't. I just think that he has his way of evaluating things, whether that has to do with character or talent or what he deems important on a football pitch, and we know in his mind defense is important. I don't think age has anything to do with it. I think the age thing is a bit of a myth. Mohammed says, how do you solve Madrid's creativity issues? Have you seen the chart plotting chances versus quality chances? Yes, I did. That was a good chart circulating on Twitter, which showed AS Roma, Mayoral leading the team to a bunch of beautiful chances now. I mean, obviously Mayoral's not the main part of that. Mkhitaryan is, and Dzeko is scoring at a high level. There are other really good pieces, but Mayoral's having a good season. I did see it. To be honest, I think Real Madrid are about where I expected them to be. If you look at their chances from an XG perspective, it's not bad. It hasn't been, from a league average perspective, it's actually been it's been among the best in the league. The problem is they're not converting chances, and the reason why their XG within the scope of the league relatively looks good is because the rest of the league is also not creating many chances. So, but then that you see Real Madrid kind of drop when you start comparing them to other European teams. That's why you saw them neck and neck with Borussia Mönchengladbach in that chart. So I'm not entirely surprised. They're about where I expected them to be honest. And that's what thing they need to figure out. I'm actually working on a big article right now, and a lot of it will have to do with Asensio and kind of like him just not scoring regularly and assisting regularly, and him being at career lows when it comes to goal and assist production. You just need an uptick from players like that consistently. Otherwise, you're just not going to cut it in the post-Ronaldo era when Hazard's not playing. Nick says, a lot been reported today. Where do you think we currently stand on getting the Ramos renewal done? I think him and Vasquez will be in a similar light in that I think it'll just get done. Don't ask me how or where it'll budge, but I think they'll both be Real Madrid players next season. Slobodan says, when it comes to Marcos Llorente, do you think Real Madrid will eventually try to get him back? The same as many other canteranos in the past. I don't think Marcos Llorente is coming back. I think that ship has sailed. Doobie says, do you think Oligarch should be a starter? Of course. You guys, I don't know if you guys asking these questions read my articles or not, or listen to these podcasts. But one of the main recurring things that I've been vocal about, both in written and podcast form, is that I think Odegaard helps his team in so many ways. His theoretical, his prototype, what he does on the pitch theoretically, he does so many things. His movement between the lines, his vertical passing, his outlet in transition, his ability to make the right play in transition, his directness with the ball, his crossing ability, his shooting ability, his press resistancy, his ingenuity, his ability to slice passes through 40 yards through 5 defenders. He's a starter for me. And so to me, where does he fit? He fits on the right wing. Kind of not in the traditional winger role that Lucas Vazquez currently deploys, but in a more of a controlling figure that can roam, that can press well, that can drop deep and help with the build-up, that can progress the ball, that can cut inside. So a different type of player to Lucas Vazquez, but I think that's where he fits. Not too dissimilar to Fede Valverde in that his movement without the ball also causes a lot of chaos for defenders to deal with. Yeah, I do think he's a starter. There's a whole thing on this. Doobie says, how do we get access to your podcast? I read the articles. Great question. So, podcasts, just go on your app, whether you're using iPhone or Android, search Managing Madrid. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on anywhere your podcast app is. Just search Managing Madrid. You'll get all of our free episodes there. If you want bonus episodes, we also do bonus episodes on patreon.com/managingmadrid. So on the free RSS feed, you get weekend post-game shows and other shows just randomly thrown in there throughout the week or month. And on patreon.com/managingmadrid, you get every Tuesday, you get Matt Wiltsey and I, we review the Real Madrid players on loan from the weekend, talk about their performances. It's called the Loan Tracker. On Thursdays, Lucas Navarrete and I, we do a Real Madrid mailbag for our patrons where we answer questions. And also a lot of bonus content, whether it's post-game shows midweek, Copa del Rey, Champions League, La Liga, or Real Madrid Femenino, or Castilla Corner, all that stuff mostly is on patreon.com/managingmadrid. And you get about, honestly, how you guys can help me out here. Well, how many podcasts are we doing a week now? 1, 2, 3 to 5 per week on Managing Madrid. And then we also have a Spanish football podcast, which Diego Lorena and I do. Diego works for Barca TV. That's called Churros y Tácticas. So that one you can also search on your app, Churros y Tácticas. You may have noticed we post small clips on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook of our podcast, but those aren't the full versions. You can go and actually find the full versions in your podcast app. Can you allow $1 patrons again? Someone says, unfortunately not. There's a whole story behind it, but no, we're not going to go back to that anytime soon. So $3 is the minimum pledge. Let's see. Do I sometimes feel that Barca fans are the most delusional? The political answer to this, and I actually feel this way, is that every fan base has delusional fans, including Real Madrid fans. Some of my best friends are Barcelona fans. I get along with them so well. And some of the people I can't stand are Real Madrid fans. So, delusion, I don't know. I've seen it everywhere. When I used to write about the Toronto Raptors, I've seen a lot of delusional Raptors fans. I will say one fan base in sports that always somehow manages to outdo themselves are Lakers fans. Those guys just come out of the forest and find you, and I don't know what they're angry about. Let's see, just gonna scroll through here. Who do you think is the best manager to follow Zidane if and when he decides to step down? Interesting. Because I have no idea what the timeline of Zidane leaving is, it's very difficult to answer this question. If he leaves 2 or 3 years from now, I don't know what the answer will be because I don't know what manager will be good at that time. A lot of people are intrigued by somebody like Nagelsmann. However, I question his ability to command the locker room. I admire his tactical nous and expertise. If we're talking about people like Klopp, that might be out of the realm of reality. Someone that I'm keeping my eye on, apart from Raul, and that's the natural. If something happens, if tomorrow Zidane decides to leave, Raul's going to be the manager. I mean, that's that. But somebody I'm keeping my eye on is Xabi Alonso, who is currently excuse me. Oh man, my throat. I don't know what just happened. That wasn't COVID. That was just water going down the wrong tube. Xabi Alonso currently managing in the Real Sociedad youth teams. Obviously, his brain is something else from a football perspective, right? So I'd be really curious to see how he turns out. Someone says Redondo versus Modric. Redondo is one of, if not the greatest defensive midfielder of all time, but Luka Modric is the better player. Did you discuss Isco already? Are the Gunners going to buy him? We've discussed Isco sporadically on the podcast. He came up today when we were discussing Dani Ceballos. That was the main talking point of today's podcast, whether Real Madrid should bring him back next season, because he said last night that he wants to return and he doesn't want to go out on loan anymore. So we discussed Isco a little bit, who we would rather have, Isco or Ceballos. I don't know what happens to Isco. I really don't. Let's see. Some of these questions, they're kind of, I can't really see what's going on here. They're kind of like overlapping. I can't explain. I think there's some Instagram glitch. All right. If we had a Champions League game against Liverpool, Bayern, or City, do you see Zidane starting Casemiro again, considering the evidence against him when it comes to playing pressing teams? I don't see Zidane benching Casemiro in a big game. I don't think he should be undroppable in a big game, but I'm not Zidane. So I don't think Zidane benches him. I think what he might do, what he's done in the past, is play Casemiro a little bit more advanced in front of Modric and Kroos, which, he becomes redundant at that point in a way, because what he does well is he plays the anchor role and he has defensive interventions at an elite clip. So when you have him up the field because he can't escape pressure and you have Kroos back there, why is Casemiro even in the game? Why can't you just throw in Odegaard instead? That's the question I would have. Okay, let's see. What do I think of Ancelotti this season at Everton? A lot of people wrote him off. I don't have many thoughts. I haven't watched Everton much this season. I've only watched them play if I'm watching like an Arsenal game or something to keep tabs. I understand that he's doing well, and Calvert-Lewin, Hewitt, is that what it is? Hewitt? I'm getting tongue twisted now. He's doing well, and I think James has cooled off, but I haven't really watched much, to be honest, to give you a proper opinion on that. But anytime Ancelotti does well, I'm happy, because it's Carlo Ancelotti and he's all of our father. Like he's dad. Dad is doing well. I'm so happy for dad. Let's see. I might take one more. I'm surprised these last couple Instagram lives, no one's requested to join the video. That was a huge thing. Like when I was doing these like the last couple months, everyone wanted to join the video, but maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe people are scared of me. Who knows? Anyone want to get in the rink with me? All right, last one. Oh, here we go. Somebody wants to join.
Yeah, well, you might
how you doing?
my name, but this is Mehdi. Yep, I'm doing well. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. You changed your name. You confused.
My Instagram name has been Hannibal and the rest of it for a long time. But recently I changed it to M Hassan Football, like my football handle. But yes, one of my close friends said, "No, man, you gotta go back to that earlier name." So yep.
So how you doing? Doing okay?
Yep, doing okay. I'm in Toronto, so it's roundabout around +1, -1, so still staying afloat.
Yeah. Any thoughts on anything Real Madrid?
I think today has been pretty crazy about the Sergio Ramos thing. We already discussed a little bit about that, but about the current team, I would say that new games are coming up, like the Copa del Rey is coming up, and Atletico Madrid don't seem to be catching a break from winning. So how do you see the team doing physically in the next month or so? Because I hope we have a couple of extra games, not just one game in the Super Copa. I hope we have 2 games there. And after that, I think the Copa del Rey games are going to kick in as well. And based on our luck, we still haven't played that Getafe game that's pending. And I think La Liga will squeeze it in when we have a really big Champions League game coming up, or before an El Clasico or a Madrid derby, I think. So, how do you think the team's doing physically? Do you see any specific improvement over the last 1.5 months? Because form has improved definitely, but what about the physique?
Yeah, I worry about Modric burning out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I also, the thing I like playing the Casemiro Kroos Modric trio. On
Mm-hmm.
one hand, it up a little bit, but like you said, because there that we're going to play that are not it's Copa del Rey, uh, and also the international break factored into. Ramos is going to play there.
Yes, yes.
I'd like to see some for players like Jovic. And, I in some ways we have the luxury. Players are not going. People like Isco and people like Marcelo, and theoretically should be able to and provide some rest. I also think like if you're Zidane and lately, like going back, it's he's shooting him final, and you're playing every one of your best players. You have to figure out, does this lineup burn out? Because a huge contributor Valverde has not, and we all know what he loves. So I would like to see Pele. I would like to see Jovic, Benzema. We can just put Hazard now. I mean, Hazard is. We don't need to rest him for anything. He just get him as possible, earn as possible. I don't need this to rest. And I think I worry about Modric and the one I worry about. We also have so I answer your question. I'm not too worried. Atletico are not slowing down. So the market, you can't drop any. Have 2 games in hand. Now Felix on like the 80th minute. So you gotta go with your strongest possible, and people are short next day.
Yep. Kiyan, just one more thing to add. I don't know if you have seen, Matt shared a really, really cool financial analysis from a channel called Swiss Ramble on Twitter, and it was just fascinating to read some in-depth analysis on that. So if our finances are not doing that well, according to that analysis, when are Real Madrid going to probably change their transfer policy a bit? Because like players like Luka Jovic are not serving the club in any way right now. And while we have players like RDT, Raul de Thomas, in the Segunda Division, so probably someone like RDT could have been useful as just a singular backup of Benzema, where currently we have 2 backups of Benzema who never play. And probably if that's what Zidane wants, if that's what the manager wants, isn't it worthwhile to explore better backup options within La Liga? Because there are plenty of good talent in La Liga coming through the ranks of Getafe, Real Sociedad, Granada, but we seem to be extremely reluctant at looking at those options rather than we're always looking at like who is the next golden boy winner or something like that. So do you think there could be a cultural change in Real Madrid's transfer policy within the next couple of years based on the financial thing?
Yeah, and I mean, to point out, Twitter thread from Sam is accurate. He's not. He's basically, which I really like, took the financial public, what's available on him, put it into terms that people can understand. explained it.
Mhm.
And the thing with we've already seen the call. It has to because they're not going to sign anyone. They're not going to sign anyone. I really don't think they're going to sign anyone apart from bringing in free agents that they. But they're not going to sign anyone. Jovic, I don't see them. I think they may send him out on better play. So that's yes. I don't time soon. I think we don't have to forget about him. We have to understand that signing him probably not.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Kiyan. It was really nice chatting with you, and yeah, take care.
Take care. Nice seeing you, buddy.
Yep. Bye.
All right. So somebody's saying is my voice is cutting. So if that's true, then I may just wrap it up. I was gonna wrap it up anyway, and yeah. What time is it? 7:50 Eastern. Yeah, I gotta get back to writing. Although I don't know, maybe I'll take one more. I'll take one more. Go live with the real Baslan.
Yo, what up?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, my man. I'm good. What about you?
I'm good. What's your name?
So, can you hear me well?
I can hear you. I think it's a little bit delayed. Let's see how this goes.
All right, okay.
Where?
So, by the way, I'm a fan from Syria.
Cool.
Wow, right? Yep.
Awesome.
So, I want to ask you some. Since Zidane took over in 2016, was it? Yeah. How many signings do you think were Zidane signings?
You cut out for a second there. You're asking me which ones were Zidane signing specifically?
Yeah, like I mean, players he specifically you think he asked for rather than being forced on him.
Okay.
And how would you feel about that personally?
Okay, so the question is, of all the signings that have come since Zidane has arrived, which are the ones he's asked for, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So, brother, I'm going to remove you from this live video because I think there may be some connections, but I heard your question. I'm going to answer it, okay? Thank you so much for your question and appreciate it, okay?
Sure, sure.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for the question. So it's a bit on the spot. I'll do my best. So the question was, which signings has Zidane asked for? I'll do my best to go through it and come up with some kind of, I guess, judgment. But here's what I would say. Certainly, he pushed for Asensio to stay and not go back out on loan. I think he was definitely a champion of Morata coming back from Juve. Despite what it may have looked with Morata not getting playing time afterwards and not making the squad for the Champions League final, Morata had a lot of important minutes for Real Madrid under Zidane. Let's see. I mean, this one, keeping in mind also, it's not like we've signed a million players under the Zidane regime. Vinicius, no. Odriozola, yes. Brahim, no. Zidane wasn't even there when Brahim arrived. Regulon, no. That was under Solari. Luka Zidane, yes. For a very brief, fleeting moment. He was definitely a main part of Fede Valverde staying and not going back on loan after his failed Depor stint. Let's see. Now, and then we're getting into like the more recent signings. So Eden Hazard, yes. Odegaard's return from Real Sociedad, yes. And that's it. And then we're talking about Ferland Mendy, obviously. So I hope that answers your question. So there's not many. I would. So you're saying only Hazard and Mendy, but I would add in different contexts. He was definitely important in making sure that Fede Valverde doesn't go out on loan, and there was someone else in there too. So there's not many, and so I would say part of that, not all of it, part of that will have to do with just this financial situation. And I by the way, the Jovic thing, he's actually been vocal about, like, they really like Jovic at Frankfurt. That was something that Zidane asked for. My guess with Jovic is, and I've been pretty vocal about this, I think what happened with Jovic is that they liked him at Frankfurt. They publicly admitted that, Zidane included. And no, I don't include Vinicius and Rodrigo in the ones that Zidane has signed. Those are more Juni Calafat comes back to the club and says, yo, these kids are good, we should invest in them, and that happens at a higher level. That's higher in the hierarchy. That's not Zidane level. But with Jovic, that is Zidane level. And again, what I've been vocal about with Jovic in the past, they liked him at Frankfurt. They saw him up close. They didn't quite like they didn't like what he brings to the table from an overarching, like, zoomed out link up play standpoint. So I think that basically what happens there is they try to develop and groom him a certain way, and meanwhile he's going to struggle to get playing time because Benzema's here. So yeah, that's my read on Jovic. All right, I think I overstayed my welcome here. So I appreciate you guys joining in, kind of trickling in and out of the live video. That was fun. It's a lot of fun. This is 2 nights in a row we've done this now. More of a crowd tonight, I think, but although I'm not entirely sure. Last night it was a little bit later too. So I think generally the rule of thumb is if I do it earlier, more people will join. Because that also, if I do it late enough or a certain time of day, the Indians will fly on. I think the Indians are all sleeping right now. So we lost that crowd. But yeah, people are asking about Ramos now. Explain at the beginning of the video. We talked about Ramos already. So yeah. All right, this is Kiyan Sobhani signing off. Follow me on my Instagram at KiyanSo. Follow me on Facebook. Go and look at everything managingmadrid.com is doing. Get in our podcast. Get in on patreon.com/managingmadrid if you like our content. We give you so much value and so much bonus content. And not just me, the writers, everybody. Like, everyone does such an amazing job. So take care, guys. Have a great night. Kiyan Sobhani signing off. And Hala Madrid. Hala Madrid!